Hello and welcome everybody. This is Samantika from the Hashnode AI team, and today we are back with another live stream session on how you can build AI applications with Twilio. So far in the hackathon, we hope that you're having a great time hacking with AI tools of your choice. And we are also pretty excited to see the solutions that you are building and submitting. So, without any ado, I'll just call upon Rishabh on stage so that he can introduce himself. But I'll just give you a very brief. He is a senior developer evangelist at Twilio and has been a mentor to me for a while now. So, we have you on stage. Hi, Rishabh. How are you doing today? You're on mute.
There we go. Hi,
All good.
Mantika. Thank you for the introduction and having me on the stream. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
I think I've known you for almost two and a half years now.
Yes. Yeah, it's
When we
been a
first
while.
met in person, I guess. But
Yes.
I've been following you around on social media, so it's awesome to collaborate again, and really excited for this hackathon.
Absolutely. I love what you build and the content that you put out, especially with
Thank you.
AI and with cloud and everything. I love that. So we'll talk about that, and maybe we can also talk about a bit on what you are going to show us in today's session and what our viewers or our developers who are hacking in this hackathon can learn from this session. Like, I am pretty excited. I am also very eager to listen like what you are going to build and showcase us today.
For sure, for sure. So I have been using LangChain to prototype and build AI powered or LLM powered applications. And for people who don't know what LangChain is, it's an open source framework that allows you to, connect different pieces that is needed within an AI application to your choice of LLM, to external APIs, and it makes it really easy. The version that I will be specifically using is the Python version. So the framework is available in JavaScript too. But since being a Python fan and developer, I'll be using the Python version. And along with that, we're going to be using Twilio's API to connect this to one of the communications channel. So as Matika said, I am a staff developer evangelist at Twilio, and today we'll hook our AI application to SMS as the communication channel. But Twilio has APIs for voice, WhatsApp, email, so you can really use any of those communication channels in your application. But today I'll be showcasing just SMS. And yeah, uh, for the AI or the LLM part, I do want to experiment something, and it might break today, but that's what live streams are for. It'll be fun. I've been using
And
OpenAI's API, but I want to use something local, so we'll try
oh,
to hook up Olama with some models that I have locally running.
nice. I think that's the beauty of live streams and live demo. Whenever you are trying to build something, the beauty lies in things not working. Like you know that it works, and you have probably practiced it even 2 minutes before the live stream, but magically during the live stream it won't work. So that's what live streams and live demos are meant to be. But yeah, I am pretty excited because back when I was in college a few years back, I have
Mhm.
been using Twilio for my hackathons, and I don't want to tell it out loud, but I have won those hackathons where I used Twilio. So it kind of been that magic tool for me because back then, like, what I did was I was using the calling feature, and then we uploaded some voice from one of our friends, and like we were building a flood detection system. It was a huge project, and it was really cool to see what all Twilio could do, and it was almost 5 to 6 years back. So
Hmm.
yeah, I am always pretty excited to see how one can use Twilio in their projects, and especially with AI I'm even more glued to it. So let me know when we are good to start, and we can straight away jump into the code, or if you have some slides, we can just go into it.
No, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I think we're good to start.
Okay.
So let's see if I'm sharing my screen. Yeah, that's okay.
I can see your screen, and I hope that's the correct one.
Yeah, yeah,
Perfect. So I'll bring it up on stage right now, and we are here.
awesome, awesome. So yeah, as I told you briefly in the beginning, we'll be using LangChain. So this is Python version of LangChain. I have opened up their documentation, but it's you can see we'll just use this part of LangChain, but there are other tools and helper libraries, other parts of the framework that are available now. So things like Langsmith, Langserve, and templates. You can look into it, but we'll be focused more on this part. And since I've been using it for almost a year now, things change pretty quickly. So if someone is watching the recording, please refer to the documentation because the way that I might be doing things today is has been changed in the future. So just keep that in mind. So you can see that there are few open source libraries within LangChain. So there's LangChain Core, there's LangChain Community, which is all third-party integrations. Like I said, if you want to use OpenAI, you need to um, import the LangChain Community package because that's where it resides. And in order to do that, I'll just quickly show you what it looks like within our Python file. So what I've got today here is a main.py, and I've created a directory, as you can see on the top. It's called summarize articles. So you might get a feeling of what we'll be building today from the name of the directory here. But
Yes.
yeah, um, to quickly go over, as I said, we'll be experimenting with Olama. So if people don't know what Olama is, it allows you to run large language models, the open ones, locally. And we can look at it really quick here. So this is Olama. It's available for Mac OS, Linux, and is in preview for Windows. And if we look for what kind of models they have available, you can see they have Gemma 2 from Google, they have Llama 3 from Meta, Phi 3 from Microsoft, and a lot more. There's also Mistral. So I'll be excited to try these out. So I've already installed Olama. But yeah, in order to get started, these are all the things you'll need. And what I'm doing here is basically importing the LangChain OpenAI and the LangChain Olama helper library within my Python file. And for this, these are also some additional helper libraries that LangChain gives us, but I'll explain it once we are at that part of the code. So the idea is I want to summarize articles. So let's say we have, big blog posts that I'm a huge fan of writing. I love writing, and
Yeah.
Mantik already knows I use Hashnode. So if you want to check out my articles, it's at blog.rishabkumar.com. But I also love reading to stay up to date, and sometimes I might find 3 or 4 articles in a day that I want to read, but I don't have the bandwidth. And oftentimes I'll save them to my bookmarks and never visit them again. Um,
Yeah.
so what I wanted to do is paste the link of the article. Let's say it's, I don't know, 1,000 words. Um, I want LLMs, which are great at it, is to summarize those articles. Not only show me the summary, but if I don't have the time to read the summary, I want it to give it the ability to text me the summary. So later in the
Oh,
day, I can look up my inbox and yeah, read that summary, so that I never forget, just bookmarking and having these articles in my bookmarks. So that is what we'll be building today. And going over um, these parts of our code. So you can already see it's one of them is a text splitter and the other one is a document loader. So I'll go over the document loader really quick. We already kind of know that we'll be using articles and blogs that are on the web, right? Um, so as you can see, we'll be using a web-based loader. This is provided to us by LangChain, or you can also scrape yourself. Um, you can scrape the data of a blog post yourself, but thanks to LangChain, they have already provided us with a loader. So what I'll do is I'll create a function here, and we'll call this web or blog loader. And as you can see, we'll use the web-based loader provided by LangChain. And in order to load a web page, it's pretty easy. You just pass in the URL of any of the blog posts that you find, and it'll return all the data that is in the web page. So we'll not hardcore this. Instead, we'll use an argument. So, and also, here's an interesting thing. So when you might remember with GPT-3 or 3.5, you couldn't ask or just paste an entire blob of text because there were
Mm,
token
yeah,
limits, right?
exactly.
So these large language models have what we call token limits, and that
Mhm.
is the amount of text you can provide or context you can provide to these LLMs. With GPT-4, I think it has increased quite a bit, but depending on the model you will be using, you have to find a way to feed the data in a way that it doesn't hit those token limits. So we just can't pick, a blog post that has 20,000 words, send it to our LLM, and expect it to get an answer or a summary. That's where chunking comes in. So we saw that we were importing this text splitter, right? And that is where we'll be using the text splitter. So if I go to LangChain documentation, you'll see there are different types of text splitters. As you can see, there's this table that you can utilize to, you know, kind of make a decision on which kind of text splitter you want to use. What I'm using is the recursive text splitter. And what that does is, so if you have a huge blog post, it'll break it down um, to smaller chunks. And that's, you'll see it in the function itself. There's a property or setting for chunk size. So let's say we have a 10,000 word blog post. We want we want the chunk size to be 1,000, so that each smaller doc is 1,000 characters, which helps to not hit those token limits. So instead of using blog loader as our function name, what I'm going to use is, um, let's call it create db from URL. DB standing for database. This is also where the interesting term of vector databases come in, but let's not get ahead of ourselves and first,
Yeah.
yeah, create the text splitter itself. So what
So
I'm
the
gonna
first,
do is,
oh,
sorry, go
sorry.
ahead. Yeah, yeah.
No, no. So the first, like the live stream event that we had was with Ben from Couchbase, and he was talking about vector databases. So he explained a lot about vector databases. So I'm guessing that our audience do have some context about that because the explanation he gave was pretty good. Like I really liked it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Um, Thank you for pointing that out. So, what I can do is to not extend this live stream.
Yeah,
Yeah, refer to that live stream if you want to
right.
dive deep into vector databases. Um, but the idea is that all of these large language models, they're trained on unstructured data, and we are also going to use unstructured or unlabeled data with our blog post. And in order to store that, vector databases are used. That's like a short, I guess,
Yeah,
summary of what vector database is. Okay, and also, Ahmadika, feel free to stop me if you have some interesting questions or if there's something in the chat. I
absolutely.
am trying to look at chat as well, but yeah, okay.
Yep.
So now that we have our text splitter, as I was telling you, there are two settings. So chunk size, as you can see, not set it to 5,000. Let's set it to two, maybe. Again, tokens and characters, they're not the same unit. So
Hmm.
there are different libraries or tools online that you can use to find out how many characters are in, I don't know what the GPT-4o token limit. So as you can see, there are 128K tokens. So with GPT-4o, I guess you don't even have to worry about um, chunking in most of the cases, but there will be edge cases. But yeah, you can figure out how much characters you need within a certain token limit. And for a good practice, I usually have a chunk overlap, which means in our case here as 100, it'll have the last 100 characters in the first doc, which it created by chunking, but also it will be present in the next doc. This helps with, you know, if there were three docs selected, the
Hmm.
context remains intact. Um, there's a very interesting question I was asked that what is a good strategy for the overlap? To be honest, I don't know. But if someone knows and is watching the stream, please let me know if they have done some testing with the overlapping. Awesome. And now we'll save this into, so documents are our web page basically.
Yep.
Docs is what we get after splitting our web page, is what I'm trying to do here. And the function is split documents. There we go. So docs will be where all our smaller chunks will be stored. And instead of returning loader, we'll return docs. Okay. So far, we have only loaded the web page and we have broken it down to smaller chunks. And that's it. So this function handles that.
Yep.
Now, once we have those chunks, we'll have to create a summary by sending over these to our large language model. So let's go ahead and do that. Um, I guess generate summary is a good,
Oh wow. Do you by any chance have GitHub Copilot?
yeah, that's what is happening.
Yeah.
um, let's hit tab and accept the suggestion that GitHub Copilot
AI everybody.
gave us. Um, and then we'll go over if there are things that are wrong or if we need to add certain things. Because earlier too, GitHub Copilot suggested the text splitter dot split, but the
Yeah.
function is called split underscore documents. So we'll find out if there are any corrections to be made.
This proves that AI is not taking our jobs because it's not correct all the time.
Yes, yes. Hence, you should always read the docs.
Yeah. Especially when it's LangChain, because like you mentioned, I remember I was trying to do something a few months back and I was following some blogs that were written by other developers, and I was like, oh, why is it not working? And then I found out the documentation has changed, the functions and everything has changed. So make sure that you are always referring to the documentation.
Yeah, yeah. There's this funny story. So let's see. Let's see if I can pull it up. I have a free code camp course on LangChain. Okay, this one.
Oh,
So I built this last year, I think
yeah.
within like 6 months of LangChain, being a
Yeah.
thing. It was out of date within 3 months, because of all the methods, all the functions, the way
Yeah.
LangChain um, library itself worked. Because now you have to, you have three different libraries. One is for the third party integrations, which is their community version. Then there is LangChain Core, and all of that didn't exist when I created the course. So yeah, always refer to the documentation. Um, who knows? Even this will be out of date.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So since I mentioned that we'll be using Olama today, uh, in order to in order to specify which LLM you want to use, you just type LLM. And for the model, sorry, I'll quickly open up my terminal and I'll show you what all models I have. So I have the Google Gemma model and Phi 3 right now locally installed.
Oh, wow. And are you
So
running it locally
yes,
as well?
yeah.
That's nice.
Um, it it might take some time. We'll see when we run this application.
Yeah.
But you basically specify which model, so it should match um, whatever the model name was within Olama,
Yep.
and we don't need. So that's a good thing about running it locally is we don't need an API key.
Maybe I can.
Um, yeah, if I was to use OpenAI, I'll have to go into my OpenAI account, get the key, store it in my environment variables. But since OpenAI doesn't have any open models, you'll
Right.
have to pay for the API calls.
I think this is the question that a lot of our hackers ask, that what are some of the LLMs or different models that they can use that doesn't need an like an API key, or they don't need to pay for that. So this video is what I'm going to refer to all of them, that use Olama, you can use Gemma.
Yeah, yeah. Also, LangChain has a library for Hugging Face, so
Yeah,
you should be able to use. Like I know Hugging Face is, you know, pretty popular when it comes to ML and AI models. So you
true.
can use the open source Hugging Face models too, for like free and not pay for the API calls. Okay. Um, so this is the code that GitHub Copilot suggested. It looks pretty good. We are going to use the summarizing chain. So there are different chains that you can also look up at the LangChain documentation. Depending on the task you want to perform or you want your LLM to perform, you can use different chain types. So what chain does is basically you have your LLM, you have your data, and in certain cases you'll have a prompt. Um, So just like we ask ChatGPT to do something for us, that acts as a prompt. And in order to hook all these three together, you use chains, which is a concept of LangChain. So we specify that we'll be using LLM. We also specify the chain type. So chain underscore type. And as I said, there are different types of chain that you can look up. And I'll also set the verbose to true, just so we can see the reasoning of the LLM. So if I look up chain types, LangChain, oops, chain types.
Oh god, it's showing you normal chains.
Yeah, I think I clicked on the wrong search. There we go.
Oh,
Oh, so you can already see that the map reduce chain that I'm using is legacy now. Uh,
yeah.
okay, so they'll still maintain support for these until we create an LCL alternative. So it should technically it should work. Uh, but yeah, these are all the different type of chains that are available.
Yep.
Okay, and we also need to invoke the chain. So you can't run it now. So what Copilot suggested and what documents say is, in order to run a chain, you invoke it. So we'll call this output summary, and how you run it is chain.invoke, and then we are passing in the docs. So remember,
Yeah.
docs were the chunked um, blog
Version of your
posts,
main.
basically. Exactly. Okay, and then we are returning the output summary. There you go.
That's good.
So in order to test this, what I'll do is I do have an example post. Let me copy it. There we go. Okay. So I have this short article on large language models, how they are neurosymbolic reasoners. This is the post itself. We have it saved in our URL URL variable. And if URL exists, what we are doing is we are creating the chunks using this function.
Hmm.
And for the response, we are using the generate summary function, and we are printing the response itself. So when you run large language model, it'll return a few different things. I already know that there is a property within that response that is called output text, and that is what I worry about. So I'm only returning that. So if I save this, another reminder is that I do have a virtual environment set up. I have installed LangChain libraries. So all of these LangChain libraries are already installed with the pip install command. So just keep that in mind. Let's clear this, and I've saved my file, and let's run python main.py, and let's hope that it works. Um, Let me make this bigger. While it's doing this thing, I don't know if there are any questions in the chat. I do see a
No,
comment
there
saying
aren't.
Copilot
Yeah.
is a lifesaver.
Which is very true.
It is. Especially like with even I also like the Copilot chat because I've been using that a lot for like documenting and like writing readmes and stuff. Um, so if you don't know, there's a chat extension for Copilot which you can install within your VS
Yeah.
Code. It's awesome. Um, okay, there we go. So you can see
Wow.
since yeah, it looks good. Since I had the verbose set to true, it was giving like all the reasoning and all the steps it took to generate the summary. Um, but as we go at the bottom, you can see it says LLMs are neurosymbolic reasoners, exhibiting abilities to represent knowledge symbolically, infer from neural representations, and generate coherent responses. And then it has paper two, which I don't think is true because it was only just one article. So I don't know how it's getting a context of that there were two papers.
Mhm.
Maybe it has something to do with our chunking.
Could be. But LLMs can be enhanced, but it's talking about something symbolic. So, yeah, I think it's definitely related to the article, but we don't know where it's coming from.
Oh yeah, no. So it is related to the article. It just um, thought that there were two papers instead of one,
Right?
which could be very well be the chunking that we are doing. So I don't know um, if you want to try Phi, the Microsoft small language model, as they refer. Let's try Phi 3.
I really like your terminal, by the way. It looks
Oh,
cool.
thank you.
I see you have turned on autosave. I'm sure that there must be some story behind turning on autosave.
No, I did hit Command S.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. It's been like I have been in that position where I wrote something and I didn't save and I just closed it. And after that, like autosave is always on. And this was before like I like cloud-based IDs and everything was famous or
yeah.
people knew about it. And so it's autosave is always on for me now.
Nice. Yeah. I remember I don't close like a file usually, um, because like there's like a dot thing if you haven't saved it.
Yeah,
But what I've done is I would make changes. I would be debugging and I saw some errors. I would make changes and I won't save them, and just I'll keep running the old code. I'm like, why
yeah,
it's not working? Um, and realize I haven't saved it.
that has happened as well.
Yeah. Um, oh, this looks this looks really cool.
Yeah.
It also has
Mm.
the context of
Oh wow. I might be biased, but I kind of like this response better than the previous one.
hmm wait.
You reading it thoroughly makes me think that did the model hallucinate? Did it give
I
some
I
different
think
response?
so.
Oh wow.
Um, let's see the blog.
Where is it getting the Harvard reference and everything from?
That's what I'm looking for. Is like are the authors? So these are the authors.
I don't see anybody with the name. or a title doctor. So
No, I don't either. I don't also see Alice Johnson.
yeah,
Let's do a Command F and figure this out. No, don't
nope,
see it. Is the link correct?
looks like it.
Yep, it's pretty much same. I'm gonna rerun it and see if it gives a different response. That would be interesting if it gives a different response now.
Yeah.
So it loads the web page correctly.
So this is where we see the great hallucination. We have all have heard about it, and now we are actually seeing it. Like we have faced it, but I think this is what live stream is all about.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. So
Does it?
it loads the blog
Okay.
post correctly. So this is
Hmm.
exactly the HTML page.
Okay, let's wait for the summary. It's writing it.
Okay. This worked.
Mm. Yeah. This is a different response, but I think this looks correct because I see names that I could find briefly in the article that you had shared. So I think this is the correct one.
Yeah. 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 I definitely feel better about this response. It talks about the game. Yeah. The symbolic understanding. Yep. Okay. So I don't know what happened in the previous one. The link looked right. I don't know. But yeah, and there are some different settings within. So like if we used OpenAI's GPT, you have the temperature setting that you can set so
Mhm.
that it doesn't like hallucinate and stuff. Um, it would be interesting to see if Olama, like you can have that in here. But let's move on to like sending this over as an SMS.
Yes.
So what I'll do is I'll create a new function, and also open things that you may need to send an SMS. So first of all, you'll need a Twilio account. Once you have created the Twilio account, you'll have to get a number, and it's
Hmm.
easy. You just click on buy a number, and it'll give you all the options of numbers available within your region. There might be challenges based on the regulations. So I'm in Canada. We have certain regulations in regards to SMS communication and buying numbers. Similarly, US has different, India has different regulations, Singapore might have
Yep.
different regulations. Um, so you might run into some um, verification or other challenges. As you can see, for me too, there are some. If I have to send a message to US, if I have a toll-free number, I'll need toll-free verification, and if I just have the 10-digit long code number, I'll still need 10 DLC registration. That being said, I'm going to use a number that I already have, which is this 2838, and a few other things you'll need is the Twilio account SID and the auth token. You can grab that within your console under your account dashboard. Um, they're secrets, so treat them as secrets. Don't commit them into your code. If we used an OpenAI model, which we didn't for this demo, you'll need an OpenAI API key. And for me, the from number will be the Twilio number. So the 2838 number is my Twilio number, and two number um, will be your own number. So I'll leave this blank for now. This is the example file. I already have these secrets set up in the .env file. But now we can create our function, and let's call it send summary. So we'll give it the argument of number. So this will be the two number, the number
Yeah.
where you want to send the summary. And the second argument would be the summary itself. So as you can see, Copilot suggesting few stuff. We'll accept it. Okay, Twilio can't sit. Twilio can't sit. Twilio auth token. There we go. Now, in order to send message, you do need the Twilio library. So if you go on top, you can see I already have that. So I'm using the Twilio REST library. You can install it by just doing pip install Twilio. And we're already at this part. Now, what we have to do is create a client which will send a message. So what I'm going to do is copy this from the docs. So these are the Twilio docs. Go back in here, paste it, fix the indent. Okay, so that looks good. The only thing we have to change now is instead of sending this as the body, we need the summary of the article.
Yeah.
For some reason, I keep forgetting that my camera is placed on the right hand side instead of looking directly at like my laptop. Um, Summary. There we go. So body is equal to summary. These are some example phone numbers that were in the docs. So we'll get rid of that. Here we'll use the environment variable, oops, which is called from number, I believe. Yes. Okay, that should be readable.
Yep.
What do we have left? We have two left. So this will be the argument that we have within our function
Then,
of send summary.
mhm.
And that is pretty much it. What we can also do is print the message ID. So once it's sent, we'll do a print statement here. Print message SID. And now I feel pretty good. Oh, we can comment this out. The reason we'll do that is because I'll be using Streamlit to
Oh,
build a good, cool UI. So if you don't know what Streamlit is, um, it's a great tool. You can build cool web applications using Python. Um,
I use it a lot, especially when I'm like coding in Python. That's my go-to for sure. And
Me
make
too. I've
sure.
for some reason I can't design things,
Mm,
so
same.
I use Streamlit extensively. Okay, how are we doing on the time?
We're a
Okay,
little over time, but then I think it's good.
okay, cool. So good news is I already have the Streamlit file ready. As you can see,
Oh.
it's pretty basic. So I'm importing my main file as LCH, and I'm also importing Streamlit. It's a summarizer bot. There are some sidebars. It asks for the URL. It asks for
Mhm.
the phone number, and then it uses our main.py to generate the summary and to send the text. So, since we feel confident about this, let's go ahead and run Streamlit. And this should open on localhost 8501, which is the default port for Streamlit. What I'm going to do is copy this URL, paste it in here, and we see how the summary is created for our article.
Yep. Oh, is there? Oh no, it will take some time.
I think it'll take some time. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's creating the summary right now.
But we can also try to see. We'll send a text message. Okay, it's definitely taking longer than it took last time, so
Yeah.
hopefully it works. Since we haven't changed anything. Um,
So can we see the terminal if it's still getting us a summary or
oh,
something?
there we go. Yeah, it did
Yeah,
finish the chain.
it
Still
should be there in the
says
next.
running. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
This is what live demos are for.
Yeah. This. Oops. It does say finish chain, and uh, is it stuck?
Looks like it because
Yeah, I just entered a new LLM chain. Oh, there we go. Oh, there's our SID. So it did send a text message.
okay. Oh, we have it.
Yeah, we have it. It just returned. Oh, there we go. This is the output text that I was referring to. So we just want the output
Yeah.
text instead of the entire response. So I can definitely clean this up.
Right.
Summary sent to your phone number. Awesome. And the summary looks good. Let me quickly go over. So I can't use my phone because I'm using it as my camera. But what I can
Okay.
look at is the logs
Right.
for my Twilio. Um, let's see. Let me pull it up. I also don't want to expose my personal number. I've done that in the past. Um,
Yeah.
so let me first open it up and make sure I don't have all those details up.
Oh, I just noticed your cap. It's Langchain.
Yes.
Wow. Looks pretty cool.
Thank you. Okay. I don't think I exposed my personal number, but here we can see
No.
that this message was created 8:18. It is 8:19 right now in Pacific time, and we can see that the body was the entire input document. So I'll definitely have to clean that up. But
Yeah,
yeah, our application works.
absolutely. I loved it. This was very cool. I'm probably going to use it in my future reading time as well, especially when I'm traveling. It's like it's so much easy to read it on text messages, or I think even Twilio can send emails, right? I don't
Yes.
remember exactly. Oh yeah, so or on emails. I wouldn't like it to call me and give me a brief,
No.
but yeah, emails and texts for sure.
No, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, yeah, I think we
cool.
went quite over the time, but we
No, no,
have
no.
it working.
Yes, and I loved it, especially while you were doing it, and I could follow through the steps. So it's pretty cool, and I'm sure that for anybody who is watching this or will watch the recording will find it very useful and very helpful as well, because we are not using anything that requires credit card information or anything as such, which is a big problem for most hackers. So I love it, and I'm sure that our hackers will also find it very useful and will probably use Olama or Langchain or even Twilio to build their applications.
Awesome. Great.
Yep. And with that, if you are done, I think we can call it a close. And cool. So it was really great having you, Rishabh. I thoroughly enjoyed the demo. I loved being with you here, just seeing you write the code. Like, I would have been so stressed if I did all of it live, especially in front of a big audience. But then I loved it. There was no demagogues. The demo ran
Hmm.
smoothly and we received the text. Everything worked well. So I loved it, and thank you so much for your time. It was wonderful having you here. And with that, we call it a close. And for the hackers, we are almost towards the close of the hackathon. You still have time, you still have around 11 days left. So make sure that you build your applications and submit your blogs on Hashnode, because that's how we'll calculate or your submissions will be valid. And with that, we'll call it an end and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you, Rishabh, again for your time.
Thank you, Mantika, for having me.
Thank you.